On today's episode of Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Lions dropping their season opener to the Green Bay Packers with the score of 13-27. And next, we're going to go ahead and look at the Detroit Tigers series loss 2-1 against the Chicago White Sox and where they're going to go next. All that and more next on Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. Welcome one, welcome all to another episode of Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. We have a September 9th Tuesday edition for you guys. Rough weekend in the world of Detroit sports if you are anything but a Sparty fan, really. Um, Man, yeah, rough loss for the Wolverines, rough loss for the Tigers, a couple of rough losses for the Tigers, and really rough loss for your Detroit Lions. I'm going to touch on the Wolverines real quick before we really get into anything here because I don't have too much to say. Michigan loses 13-24 against 13th ranked Oklahoma, and oh boy, oh boy. I thought coaching was definitely the biggest downfall in this game. These Sharon Moore playing against his alma mater felt like he didn't come prepared to play. Um, the utilization of Bryce Underwood was extremely disappointing. I know that he had a couple of passes that he whiffed, but he's a rookie quarterback. You got to let him, or freshman quarterback. You got to let him just uh, you know make plays downfield. You got to let him use his legs a little bit more. Um, Yeah, he goes 9 for 24 with 142 yards. So pretty rough when it comes to efficiency. And yeah, just got totally outclassed by John Mateer, who went 21 for 34 with 270 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Um, Justice Haynes really kind of carrying a load for the Wolverines in this one. 19 carries, 125 yards, and one touchdown. And that was a big touchdown from Justice Haynes. He's going to be another solid running back in a long line of very, very solid, college running backs from Michigan. Um, Yeah, Michigan really just wasn't able to do anything until, the second half. And yeah, not like I said, not too much to talk about with these guys, or at least not too much to really get into. Um, but just a really disappointing loss. And unfortunately, it seemed like that game was a little bit of a an appetizer, a little bit of a you know, a showing of what was to come for the Detroit Lions. MSU football wins a much needed game against the Boston College Eagles. Um, they win with a score of 42-40 in I think it was double OT or just regular OT, but yeah, I didn't get to watch too much of that. Unfortunately I had to work on Saturday, so I could only give so much attention to the Tigers and Wolverines, and MSU was just kind of on the back burner. Um yeah, what else do we have here? I'm not sure if I touched on it in my last episode, even though it might be kind of old news, but Alex Cobb did announce his retirement and kind of basically retirement. Um, basically saying, unfortunately, that his hip inflammation and arthritis, just he can't really deal with that anymore. He can't pitch at a major league level. And he gave an explanation, which was it was good, which I'm glad he did, and made things make a little bit more sense. But Yeah, basically he said that when he signed the contract, his hip felt fine. He was throwing BP sessions, and he was doing fine. But yeah, as he was getting live, in game uh innings, it kind of got worse and worse for him. And yeah, he announced that he can't do it anymore. So just another questionable move by general manager Scott Harris when it comes to the pitching staff, which there has been a lot of questionable decisions regarding the pitching staff in this previous season, and I think there are more to come, unfortunately. Anyways, um, as it comes to or when as it pertains to the introduction segment, I don't have too much else for you guys. I kind of just want to get right into the game breakdown for your Detroit Lions, and then after that, gonna get into the series review of the Tigers 2-1 loss against the White Sox. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the board out and get into that Detroit Lions game review. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Gordie's Detroit Sports Catchup. Welcome to segment 2 of today's Tuesday edition. And yeah, I just want to get right into this very, very frustrating uh, Detroit Lions loss. So yeah, Packers make a statement at home with their home/season opener and pummel the Detroit Lions. Yeah, man, the D line shut down the run and made Jared Goff's life hell. Really was easily able to um, shake around the pocket and collapse things in on the passer. And yeah, interior offensive line struggled mightily. That's probably my number one takeaway from today, and probably the biggest game changer for, well, maybe I would say maybe the second biggest game changer, but I would definitely say the interior offensive line and the problems that we faced with uh, stopping the pass rush up the middle um, was really the root of a lot of the Lions' issues today. Um, yeah, unfortunately, just uh, the rookie Tate Ratledge had a hard time. Christian Mahogany also had an equally hard time, and Graham Glasgow just did not look like a very good center. He struggled just like he did in um, the divisional round last year's playoffs against Washington. So, uh, yeah, that was rough. Detroit, I will say the Lions did a good job as it pertains to eating up the clock and time of possession. But what really killed them, and I think what was the biggest difference maker for your Detroit Lions, was the red zone offense. Terrible, terrible from the Detroit Lions and the Jared Goff. They went, I think, 1 for 4 when they were in scoring position. Um, yeah. So between, the pick and settling for 2 field goals is kind of what cooked the Lions goose. You're not going to win football games settling for field goals. It's that simple. You get these long drives that end up that eat up the clock. Like, for example, we had an extremely long drive. I think it was yeah, and so from the 10-minute mark, or the when we had 3 minutes left in the first quarter to, or no, excuse me, 10 minutes into the first quarter until the 3-minute mark in the second quarter, the Lions had the ball almost that entire time, and the Packers still outscored them. So, normally last season, when Detroit was able to possess the ball that effectively, when we got into the end zone, or into the red zone, excuse me, we were able to convert. Our run game was strong, and we were able to punch it down their throats, or get shifty, get tricky, and get our wide receivers revolved or involved in some intermediate crossing routes. But there was none of that, and that's kind of one of the points that I'll get to. But um, the offensive scheme seemed very bland. Felt like a very mid '90s, BS. Just uh, pass on first down, screen on second down, run on third down, and boom, it's fourth down and you're punting. And it kind of seemed like that way, way too often. Um, when you're not able to get that push from the interior offensive line, there's other things that you can do to account for that and still keep Jared uh, clean for at least a couple more seconds to maybe get him some looks down the field. But I was very disappointed in what I saw from the offensive game plan and play calling and coaching. Um, Johnny Moe is already on a pretty hot seat, and I don't think that's very controversial to say. Just looking at how these guys played yesterday, and the lack of adjustments made was kind of what killed me. I think um, when it comes to running the ball, we only saw, I was watching the All 22 earlier today. We only really saw a jumbo set 3 or 4 times, and then um, no wing T. Or maybe once. I think we got Gibbs and Montgomery both in the backfield at the same time, but little to no wing T. Jared not, you know, decent mix, mostly shotgun passes, but I want to see more of that just with um, two backers in the field, one going to block and one, going for a route or the handoff. But the one time that we did see both of them in the backfield, they both split out and ran for routes, and Jared immediately, is getting the pocket collapse on him, and it's the phone booth. So yeah, very milk toast from the offense. I thought the one of the most insulting things was the fact that we weren't able to take advantage of their cornerbacks and really really limited route tree for our Detroit Lions wide receivers. That was very disappointing to see because it felt like they did so much more unique stuff down the field. Last season. So to see that lack of play calling creativity, and I'm not even just talking about the trick plays, but uh, I mean, how many times can you have everybody run curl routes or sit and they just stop at the end of the route and sit there and wait for the ball. Meanwhile, Jared already has three defenders collapsing in on him because the offensive line can't buy him any time. Very, very frustrating. Let's see here. Defensively, they kind of did what they could today. They definitely actually made adjustments, unlike the offense during halftime, and came out in the second half and did a lot better job of, um, containing the Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs, and also just in general, did a decent job of playing zone coverage and putting multiple hats on a ball. Um, anyways, yeah. In the intermediate area though, they got totally exposed. I think Jack Campbell had a pretty rough time in coverage. Um, they heavily utilized their tight ends and got their slot receivers going in that intermediate area and um yeah guys like Kirby Joseph were really nowhere to be seen. Kirby had a very, very quiet game with Brian Branch kind of picking up a lot more of the slack. Um, they went right at our corners, man, and that's what I wanted to see Detroit do. So that was another thing that was very frustrating. Very quickly, DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold got exposed. Now, I will say that the Jaden Reed touchdown off of that little, bubble screen from I think it was Dontavion Wicks that set the screen for Jaden Reed to, sneak behind him and get up to the corner out for the touchdown. But yeah, that play specifically, I wouldn't necessarily blame on Terrion. I think that was more of a miscommunication between Terrion and Arnold, or Terrion Arnold and Brian Branch, and there probably should have been a switch off there. But yeah, miscues, 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 man. Just too much, just way, way too much. Way too many mistakes, a lot to clean up, and yeah, when it comes to good things that the Lions did, I will say Sam Laporta had a really solid day with 79 yards. He was 6 for 9 with 48 yards after catch. Uh, excuse me, Isaac Tesla with the uh, candidate play for catch of the year, touchdown catch of the year. That was ridiculous. The heel drag to toe tap, uh barely brings it in. Wow, wow. If this guy doesn't get more touches next week, then I don't know, man. I don't know. Aiden Hutchinson had a really rough day. Not necessarily because he wasn't playing well. I think he just they had a game plan for him, obviously, and they shut him down. And I wonder why we have no pass rush. It's almost like we have no depth at defensive end, and our D tackles are run stopping specialists. We could have used a Zadarius Smith. We could use a Matt Judon. What the fuck, Brad? Okay, let me not get too upset, but I can't kill people for saying, throwing the "we're good" in my face. It makes me extremely upset to think about the two biggest issues in this game, right? The interior offensive line and the lack of a pass rush could have been solved by two signings that Brad Holmes didn't make in the offseason. Kevin Zeitler, an all-pro guard, you let walk to Tennessee for a couple $1,000,000 more. Same thing with Zadarius Smith, but that was tied up in incentives, and you let him go to fucking Philadelphia. Philly, the, the team that you're looking at above you, that reigning Super Bowl champs, that you have to go through if you want to get that Lombardi, and we sit on our hands. I wasn't nearly this upset in the offseason when these things happen, but now looking at the gaping holes on this team, it's almost like the national pundits were all right. They were like, all of them are right. The offensive scheme without Ben Johnson sucked. Um, our defensive line, they neutralized Hutch, and the rest of them sucked, at least when it came to rushing the passer. Uh, yeah, interior offensive line, you could tell there was a big lack of experience there. From watching the film, I can't tell you how many times that I saw a play where either Tate fails to combo up to his guy, and a free rusher, it just comes careening, towards Goff into the backfield, or Christian Mahogany is supposed to pull, and he gets beat off of his block by his man, and the whole play just kind of gets blown up. or Graham Glasgow completely missing his assignments and just in the middle, looking around like a deer in headlights, like a jackass. All right, I gotta settle down a little bit, but yeah, Graham Glasgow, Christian Mahogany, Tate Ratledge, especially bad. Um, Consistently struggled on combo blocks and getting up to that second level, and that's why I think the linebackers were so effective today. We'll talk about a couple of them in a minute. Um, all the pulling plays, these guys struggled mightily, which I I kind of expected from a Mahogany or a even a Graham Glasgow, but Tate also had an exceptionally hard time on some of these pulling plays, and that's why you saw very little success on run plays and these screens that used to work when our big guys and our skill guys all got downfield. Um, to block. And by the way, the skill guys, wide receivers, backs did not do a very good job of blocking today. Um, we did not get nearly enough plays where we had a Montgomery or a Craig Reynolds, even or a Brock Wright or a Laporta chipping the end. And yeah, the failure to do that, and it kind of just dumped it all on the offensive line when you have two, basically three new guys in there, was a recipe for disaster. Um, Statistically, let's see here. We look at Jared Goff. He had a pretty efficient today, all things considered. 31 for 39 with 225 passing yards, one passing touchdown, one interception. Sam Laporta, 6 for 9 with 79 yards, 48 yards after catch. Amon-Ra St. Brown went 4 for 6 with 45 yards. David Montgomery with 43 yards all purpose, 24 rushing yards, 18 receiving yards. Um, Jahmyr Gibbs, he had 50 yards all purpose, 19 rushing yards, and 31 receiving yards. Um, yeah, other than that, let's take a look at the Packers, right? So, well, okay, first of all, defensively for the Lions, not a whole lot. Barnes had a decent day. I thought Anzalone played pretty well. Marcus Davenport did good against the run, but I definitely did not see the same a bull rush that I saw, first couple of weeks last season, which was disappointing because I was looking forward to seeing, at least one or two plays where Marcus Davenport just destroys the pocket and lets the other guys, get in there and cause havoc. Anyways, yeah, Jack Campbell, 5 solo tackles, 4 assists. Derek Barnes, 4 solo, 2 assists, 1 TFL. Brian Branch, 4 solo, 1 assist, 1 TFL. Alex Anzalone, 2 solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles. And then we look at the Packers. So first of all, with the Green Bay offense, Jordan Love went 16 for 22 with 188 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Decent day. What makes me mad is that like this, other than some of these touchdowns, right? This could be a stat sheet of a losing team. But um, obviously you look at the stat sheet, you'd be very misled on how this game really went. Um, Josh Jacobs, 70 all-purpose yards, 66 of which were rushing yards, and 1 touchdown. Jaden Reed, 45 yards, 3 for 5, 1 touchdown. Tucker Kraft, 19 yards, 2 for 4, 1 touchdown. Romeo Dobbs, 68 yards, 2 for 2. And the Packers defense, which was the most dominant side of the ball today for either team. Rashawn Gary with 3 solos, 4 assists, 1 tackle for loss, and 1.5 sacks. Lucas Van Ness, one solo, three assisted, one TFL. I put one sack because, I mean, he was listed with half a sack, but he got a sack. Edgerrin Cooper has a monster of a game with 8 solo tackles and 4 assisted. Xavier McKinney doing his thing as always, 3 solo, 2 assisted. Javon Bullard, 7 solo tackles, a lot, and 2 assisted. Micah Parsons, 1 solo, 1 TFL, and 1 sack. I think they also counted him for one and a half quarterback pressures, or 2 quarterback pressures. And Keyshawn Nixon, 5 solo tackles, 1 assisted, and 1 TFL. So, yeah, I do have a quarter by quarter breakdown, but I don't know how much good that's really gonna do us. I got a quote from Dan Campbell. Quote, it's not what it appears to be. So it's like I told them, let's clean up the tape. We made some critical errors at the worst time possible. We'll clean it up. It gives us a little barometer to see where we're at game one, and that's okay. End quote. I yeah, they definitely have a lot to clean up. He's definitely right about that. I just, after watching the Chicago Bears and Minnesota Vikings game that just happened. Offensively, Chicago actually can do something. Like, as much as we talk smack about Caleb Williams and the wide receivers and everybody there, the offensive line did just enough for Caleb Williams to, make some plays, and his ability to scramble around and run out of the pocket, I have a feeling is going to be pretty dangerous for us. And yeah, it really makes me nervous about next week's matchup. Um, Other than that, yeah, man. The interior offensive line, they need to get the shit together. Um, like I said, no real pass rush for the Lions. I talked about the milk toast offensive scheme. I touched on Terrion and DJ Reed getting honestly exposed, and the game plan from Green Bay did a really good job of that. And one thing I didn't touch on yet, Panay might have had his worst start, or worst game in the NFL as a Detroit Lion. Um, he had a few decent battles against Micah Parsons. A couple of which he won, a couple of which he lost. But it was guys like Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness even that were getting the one up on him, and um, that's not good. That you don't want to see that. That is kind of nerve wracking. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine, but in a game like this where your offensive line is already not doing too hot, if you have a your best offensive lineman also not doing very good, or at least getting beat on a few plays, those plays are going to be disasters. So yeah, that's really all my takeaways for Detroit. Like I said, we got Chicago coming up next week, and they really need to lock the hell in, because I know that those guys want it, and I'm sure Ben Johnson, especially after they gave up this loss week one at home in the fashion that they did, letting the Vikings storm back to the win. They're gonna be pissed. Both these teams are gonna be very pissed off. So it's gonna be tough, hard nosed physical game, and I'm all here for it. But yeah, Lions got to take care of business. Green Bay, I'm not sure who they play next. Let's see. But yeah, the Green Bay Packers did a really solid job this weekend, or in this game on Sunday. Um, Jordan Love able to spread the love. He found. I mean, you can kind of see on the stat sheet already. Found, you know, three different guys for the touchdown. Right, he found Tucker Craft and Jaden Reed, and then obviously the handoff to Jacobs. But he did a really good job of targeting everybody. I mean, Romeo Dobbs had a massive catch. Um, Even guys like Matthew Golden and Dontavion Wicks, these are all guys that got involved in the offense. Yeah, so the Green Bay Packers head into a Thursday night football matchup against the Washington Commanders. They play again at home. Um, we'll see if they can continue to dominate in the trenches like they did against the Lions. I know the Washington Commanders have a very good defensive line, and that offensive line don't play either. So, the big boys up front for the Packers will definitely have their hands full. Um, Edgerrin Cooper had, like I said, had a hell of a game. Kind of just was flying around, making tackles. Um, One of those guys that really helped to bring a spark to the defense, and something that Detroit was desperately lacking yesterday. Um, and yeah, Micah Parsons adds a whole new component to this defense. You got him, lined up one on one against whoever they're gonna have to double him, and then that leaves Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness or even what is his name, Dontavian Wyatt, and some of these other big guys up front, or uh, Edger and Cooper, right, to rush the quarterback. And yeah, Green Bay sitting comfortably on top of the NFC North with a big statement win over the Detroit Lions. Uh, yeah, anyways, guys, that's all I have for my wrap up here with the Detroit Lions' first loss to the Green Bay Packers. In the next segment, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Detroit Tigers series loss to the Chicago White Sox 2-1. All that more next on Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. Welcome back to segment two of Gordie's Detroit Sports Catch Up. If you have not already, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my uploads to keep you informed and in the know about your favorite Detroit sports area teams, make sure to hit that bell icon so you don't miss a beat. Anyways, let me not ramble too much, and let's just get right into this disappointing series loss against the Chicago White Sox. So, yeah, game one, right? Unfortunately, big loss. I think was it Friday night? Um, Jack Flaherty, Sowers, Parker Meadows, triumphant return to the lineup. Uh, and the bullpen, Bailey Horn and Kevin Montero can't put it away. Um, yeah, Flaherty was really bad today. Or Friday he struggled to control a lot of his pitches, especially like the fastball and the curveball. Um, let's see. Statistically speaking, he had 4.1 innings pitched with 6 hits, 4 earned runs, only 2 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Unacceptable from your second best, maybe third best pitcher in starting pitcher in your rotation. Um I it gets to a point where I don't even know what to say. I mean, this guy's almost got a 5 ERA. He's ballooned up to a 1.56 whip, and yeah, he can't even really be trusted to you know, go against a lineup more than go against an order more than twice, or even really more than once for that matter. Um, Yeah, I would say the game was flipped when Bailey Horn gave away the go-ahead Benny bomb to Andrew Benintendi. That put the Sox up 5-4. Excuse me. Monterio's meatball slider to the heart of the plate that got crushed by Colson Montgomery was definitely the nail in the coffin in the seventh inning. Um, yeah, that really sucked. Parker Meadows, he killed it today, right? Crushes 2-run homer in a deep right, and um, yeah, he made a awesome diving catch, and I think that was in the seventh inning. To um, you know, keep it close, keep it competitive, but yeah, unfortunately, man, it wasn't enough, and really wanted to get this win for Parker mainly, and get at least a comfortable 1-0 lead in the series, so it doesn't end up going 1-1 in the Tarek School start, and yeah, and your rubber match on Sunday being decided by a trash ass old pitcher in Charlie Morton. Um, Wenzel Perez had a couple of errors in the outfield that made me upset, but he kind of made up for it with a base hit, and he took 2 walks. And in general, had a really, really like solid weekend. He got on base 7 times this weekend, so yeah, shout out to Wenzel Perez, another one of those kind of depth guys that are making a huge contribution to the team. He went 1 for 2 with 0 RBIs, 1 run, and 2 walks. Gleyber Torres got totally blank today. We need him to have at least 1 hit, 1 RBI, one something, 1 walk. We need something from Gleyber. Uh, and he's been pretty inconsistent lately, unfortunately. So you hate to see that. Um, let's see who else we got here. Um yeah, Bailey Horn gets credited with the loss today. Now he is 0 for 1 with 1 inning pitched and 1 earned run, 1 strikeout. Um, yeah, now he's got up to a 2.16 ERA and a 1.56 WHIP. Um, rough stuff. White Sox did a lot better. Colson Montgomery is your player of the game with 4 RBIs. He went 2 for 4, 2 runs, 1 walk, and 1 homer. Curtis Mead, not too shabby of a day. He went 2 for 4 with 0 RBIs and 2 runs. Andrew Benintendi went 1 for 4 with 1 RBI and 1 run. And Shane Smith, the starting pitcher for the White Sox today, was he's now 5-7 in his total record with 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. He's now got a 3.95 ERA with a 1.2 WHIP. um, yeah, AJ Hinch, when asked about Jack Flaherty's rough performance, he said well, it's execution, right? When you don't put the ball where you want it, it's going to put you in a little bit of jeopardy. There were just some big pitches that he lost. Late in the count, barrel contact tells me that he's just not getting them where he wants, end quote. Or a frustrating night all around, end quote. Yeah, just, you know, rough stuff. I'm trying to see. There was a uh, uh, big hit. Okay, so bottom of the fourth, right? Uh, the home base ump takes a ricochet ball to the hand. It, kind of comes up and smokes him right in the hand, and then calls a really shitty strike on Riley that was like low and outside. Torkelson ground out to third. Perez's 7 pitch at bat leads to him drawing the walk. McKinstry ground ball to short, bounces off the fielder's glove for an error, and he gets the double. Um, we got 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs, and the Chicago White Sox. Uh, what? Oh, okay. I see what I said. So yeah, two on, two out. They take a mound visit and have a chat with Shane Smith, and then the very next pitch gets it was a gets it's popped up, and Shane Smith and Teal kind of run at each other, and big collision. That was a pretty scary moment. They both end up okay. Teal didn't end up playing on Saturday to kind of recover, but yeah, scary collision there. It would look like a football hit when their heads jolt back like that. Teal didn't have the opportunity to take his helmet off and just smokes Shane Smith in the face. But hey, I got to give the shout out to Shane Smith. He stays in the game and gets the strikeouts to end the inning. So yeah, bottom of the fourth, Tigers up 4-3, and that's when in the top of the fifth, uh, Bailey Horn comes in for Flaherty. Um, does okay at first, but at the top of the sixth, he faces Andrew Benintendi, and Benintendi barrels it. Yeah, Kaiser Montero has 3 innings pitched, wasn't really able to do much else for the Tigers with 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 1 home run. Yeah, man. Rough game on Friday. So let's go ahead and move on to Saturday. The Tigers won in a blowout victory against the White Sox, and with the help of Tarek Skubal. Great start from him. He is now 13-4. Gets credited with the win here. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. Badass from uh, Tarek Skubal. Um, Jemai Jones starts us off with the home run from the very second pitch thrown from Martin Perez. Later in the fourth inning, Tigers offense starts to put pressure on Perez. Green gets a base hit, and Ibanez walks to put 2 on the base path for ZMAC, who hits the RBI double to put the Tigers up 2 runs. Javi sac fly scores Ibanez, and Gleyber Torres hits a huge 3-run bomb into far left field. And let's see that oh, that was my old sheet. Yep, that is my old sheet. I need to get a lot better at organizing my notes here. I think I just need to put little page numbers, but yeah, let's see here. So it was the fourth inning that everything really kind of got crazy, and the Tigers did the most damage. Um, excuse me. Um, yeah, let's see here. Detroit up 3-0 after the Javi Baez sack fly, and we're back at the top of the order, full count, and Jemai Jones gets walked, and then yeah, that's when Glaber hits the bomb to left field and puts the Tigers up 6-0. Uh, and a Wenzel Perez flyout ends the run, and yeah, no matter who the White Sox uh, you know put out there, they couldn't get a run, and um, yeah, Tommy Canley comes in and just kind of takes care of business um, in the eighth, and then Rafael Montero in the ninth shuts down the club. So yeah, man. Statistically speaking, we had a great day from Gleyber Torres. Went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, 1 home run, 1 run, and 1 walk. Jemai Jones went 1 for 2 with 1 RBI, one walk and one home run. Zach McKinstry, 1 for 3, one RBI, one run, and 0 walks. And then when it comes to the White Sox, Martin Perez, the starting pitcher, he's now 1 and 4, gets credited with the loss. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 home runs. Now has a 3.5 ERA and still has a 1.07 WHIP. Chase Majoff has a good game or a decent game for the Chicago White Sox with a couple of base hits, but really is the only guy that did a whole lot. And Wikelman Gonzalez had a sneakily very, very, very good, few innings or a couple of innings pitched for the White Sox today. Uh, no walks, no earned runs, no hits, 2 innings pitched and 5 strikeouts. So Wikelman was able to do a little bit of damage there, but obviously it was not enough. And yeah, all in all, man, Tigers solid bats. Another decent game from Wencel Perez, and yeah, Tarek Skubal. What I found actually pretty interesting, he really didn't seem to have like 100% control on some of his off-speed pitches, and he did get the one walk, and that was the I think it was the curveball that got away from him. But yeah, also not quite as high velo in a lot of these fastball pitches that we're used to seeing, especially like before the All-Star break. So I can't help but feel like he's letting off the gas a little bit, which it's okay. I mean, he's probably only got like the 2 or 3 starts left in the regular season, but excuse me. Still, you know, definitely noticeable. But guess what? He's the best pitcher in the world, and they still get the shutout with victory. So there's always a little glimmer of hope for the Tigers every 2 or 3 games when we get a Tarek Skubal start. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to Sunday, where we had probably the most disappointing of the 3 games. Um, yeah, Detroit falls at home to the basement dwelling Chicago White Sox, and final score 6-4. Tigers are pretty miserable with runners in scoring position in this game. They went 0 for 7. Pitching was brutal today. Nobody on the mound had good stuff other than maybe a Troy Melton who had some like a couple of strikeout swinging, some pretty ballsy at bats where he's just pumping heat right in the middle of the right in the middle of the zone, which is fine, but um, he did end up getting touched a few times, and we've seen it from him before. Gets in a big jam, and yeah, the Canely coming in after him didn't do him any favors. So, uh, yeah, Morton had no command on the fastball, and the curveball really wasn't curving like it used to. Um, yeah, Canely definitely sunk the game for the Tigers today. I mean, obviously, it wasn't like the best, position from Melton, but then, he leaves a bed full of shit for Will Vest to clean up as well, and unfortunately, he lets up the go ahead RBI double, and that is what put Chicago up 6-4 and was the last offensive scoring play of the game. Um, AJ Hinch quote: "You give away 10 free passes either by walk or hit by pitch. It just wasn't a good day on the mound for us." End quote. I think the fastball eluded him a little bit. It just looked like he couldn't locate pitches. Uh, 3 innings, 70 pitches is just too much. End quote. Talking about Charlie Morton there, and yeah, you know, Just not not good. Not good at all for the Detroit Tigers. And yeah, let me see. All right. Overall, yeah, series takeaways, right? We lose 2-1. The scoring is still a glimmer of hope on this team. Uh, when it comes to guys like Wenzel Perez, Jemai Jones, like I said, Perez got on base 7 times this weekend, and Jones is now up to a 929 OPS. So yeah, that guy gets on the base paths. Both these guys do a really good job of getting on the base paths. It's really just about whether the heart of the rotation or the heart of the lineup can get barrel on ball and get some of these guys in and not strand them. Um, Offense is 3 for 17 with runners in scoring position this weekend, with 15 men left on base. Yeah, you're not gonna win a whole lot of series with a ratio for RISP like that. Tigers went just a little interesting, record observation. They went 46-25 in the first half of the year, so that's their first 71 games, and are barely reaching 500 baseball in the last 73. They're about 36-37 right now. Um, every single pitcher not named Tarek Skubal has about a 5 ERA right now. And I don't know what to do about it. I mean, like I said, like I wrote down here, the rotation is just hollow. There's really nothing to it. You have um, Tarek Skubal, obviously, and then maybe you have Casey Mize, or, maybe, maybe you can pray enough and get a good Jack. But man, just really frustrating that you go from one of the best bullpens in baseball last season, and that's really what kept the Tigers in it and made them a playoff hopeful team, um, to being one of the worst bullpens. Just some stats since July. The bullpen is now boasting an ERA of 4.28 with a 1.30 WHIP. Um, 20 saves, 10 blown saves, and a 67% save percentage. So, um, sorry, it's a little late at night, and been working for a long time today on this episode for you guys. So I do apologize if I'm starting to wind down a little bit at the end here. I still got to edit this thing and get it all uploaded, but um, yeah, I hate to end this episode off on such a Debbie Downer note as well, but nobody in the pen can eat innings. Nobody. Especially now that we have Cal Finnegan on the 15-day IL, one of your few high velo guys that could really get it done. Melton had 4 walks on Sunday and didn't really have a whole lot of control. Outside of a couple of at bats. Not too stressed about him just because of his youth, but um, now's probably not the best time for Melton to be hitting a cold stretch. But I don't know. He'll figure his stuff out. Like I said, I mentioned him first because I'm, really not worried about him. I'm really, this list at least, it's going from guys I'm least worried about to guys that I'm most worried about. Um, Tyler Holton, actually, he did okay this weekend. I mean, fuck that guy, but he did okay. Um, yeah, had limited run on Friday, but had a solid fourth inning in relief of Morton with 2 strikeouts and a base hit, no walks. Yeah, still not very reliable. Tommy Canley sucked this weekend. Guy's totally wash. Can't control his fastball, and the curveball just isn't there. Kata Montero struggled in his first appearance back with the Tigers. His fastball just doesn't have enough zip, or I don't know. I don't know if he's like tipping his pitches or what, but um, when it came to the fastball, guys were getting a lot of contact on it, and then when it came to like the curveball, or changeup, he was just kind of, especially like the slider. That was the one that I think it was yeah, Benintendi just uh no, it wasn't Benintendi. Uh, I think it was Sosa. Just got a big homer off of him, and then yeah, Bailey Horn was given the L for Friday's performance, which I don't know if he necessarily deserved, but yeah, I gave up the solo home run to Benintendi, and yeah, his cutters down the middle, they really make me nervous. Will Vest gives up two RBI single on Sunday, and that technically cost the game, but that was obviously Canley's fault for leaving him, three on, no outs. Um, Will Vest is another guy that I'm sure he'll be fine. He's one of the few guys on this team that can actually put away innings for you. And we saw it last week when he was asked to be a late relief and through the seventh, eighth inning instead of being, or I think it was like sixth and seventh inning instead of being your official closer. But yeah, man, there really is no light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the bullpen, and that's what really makes me nervous. Depending on who we get matched up against, I don't know if we're going to even win a playoff series. With the way this bullpen is going, I think you win the Tarek Skubal start, and then you drop the other three, and you lose. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I don't have really anything else for you. Oh, you know what? Last point here. You guys just lost the easiest series of the month. It's not getting any easier from here. You got the Yankees next, and you got Casey Mize start first, then Jack Flaherty, and then we'll probably get a Charlie Morton or something on Thursday. But yeah, not not looking forward to this next series in the Bronx. I hope they can win this series, scrape out a second victory. But without a Tarek Skubal start, it's not looking too hot. I know that they're also struggling, and they don't really have a whole lot of great pitchers. Like I'm not afraid of Rondon. I'm not afraid of a lot of these guys. They don't have a Garrett Cole, so um, I'm just afraid of the bats. That's it. But I have every reason to be afraid with how poorly our bullpen and even our starting pitching outside of Tarek School has been. Yeah, guys. Anyways, that's all I have left for you. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Uh, Anything helps. If you guys want to talk ball, like I said, comment or reach out to me on Instagram at Gordon J Jones II. And yeah, next episode, I'm hoping to have one for you guys either Friday or a weekend edition. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you guys have a great week. See ya.